Testing. One, two, three. Test. All right, this is the pre-show. Just here, just some songs, get some stuff set up. Um, let's see, got something I need to take care of real quick. Should have wrote it down. And it is raining over here, man. I don't know if you guys can hear it through the mic. But it is like pouring down outside. I hope you guys hope it's some good weather where you're at. Testing one, two, three. Mic is working fine. All right, for those who just happen to may watch this later, on the replay, I started to do this podcast tonight on like dealing with Lady Gaga and her mess that she put out there, or she said in her concert against the vice president, and just her comments, just address that stuff and give a response to it. But this seems to be more pressing news. It ain't say seems to be. It is. New York has flipped their wig, and I can't say I'm surprised, but this is definitely something that we need to talk about. So I've been planning on doing a video on abortion, on the topic of abortion, and it seems that this was kind of like right on time, unfortunately. So just to let you know what I'll be discussing, give you a heads up, I'll be reading off a little bit of the law that was passed, points they made in there, and then this is from a website from Live Action. It was posted on the 22nd. And it's 8 questions that reveal why Roe versus Wade goes against reason. And I'm going to just read off a question over there and discuss it. So that's pretty much what the topic will be about tonight. Got 10 minutes left before we start the show. This is sad, man. I was reading off the law. I was reading up on this law that was passed, or this bill. It's called the Reproductive Health Act. Reproductive Health Act. And man, it's sad, man. I'll take the time. Thank you guys for your support and all that you do for this ministry, even if it be from $1 to $20 to $30. I really do appreciate you guys. I can't say it enough. It makes me it brings me joy when I was able to send out those things to you guys who's at the $5 mark and up. And when I get ready to send out these quarterly gifts, like that's gonna even make me even more excited. And so I'm just really grateful and thankful that I'm able to do something like that. I'm thankful to you guys. So just want to mention that before we got started. Right now, this stream isn't public; it's unlisted, just only regulated to the Patreon. When we get ready to start the show, that's when I'll make it public, and then go from there. Got about 7 minutes left to go. I think I will share this screen. Make sure make this a separate tab. Mm-mm-mm. All right, we're about to get started in about a minute. If you want to put the whole screen on, I think we're ready to go, guys. Anyway, see you soon.
We undeserving, but Christ changed our mind frame. In a world full of errors, the only thing the doctor prescribes is truth. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 25. Therefore, laying aside falsehood, speak truth, each one of you with his neighbor, for we are members of one another, for his name's sake. Prescribe truth, we giving you what the doctor ordered. Jamal, Bandy, apologist, the Lord's servant. We undeserving, but Christ changed our mind frame. In a world full of errors, the only thing the doctor prescribes is truth. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 25. Therefore, laying aside falsehood, speak truth, each one of you with his neighbor, for we are members of one another, for his name's sake. Prescribe truth, we giving you what the doctor ordered. Jamal, Bandy, apologist, the Lord's servant. We undeserving, but Christ changed our mind frame. In a world full of errors, the only thing the doctor prescribes is truth. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 25. Therefore, laying aside falsehood, speak truth, each one of you with his neighbor, for we are members of one another, for his name's sake. Prescribe truth, we giving you what the doctor ordered. Jamal, Bandy, apologist, the Lord's servant. We undeserving, but Christ changed our mind frame. In a world full of errors, the only thing the doctor prescribes is truth. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 25. Therefore, laying aside falsehood, speak truth, each one of you with his neighbor, for we are members of one another, for his name's sake. Prescribe truth, we giving you what the doctor ordered. Jamal, Bandy, apologist, the Lord's servant. We undeserving, but Christ changed our mind frame. In a world full of errors, the only thing the doctor prescribes is truth. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 25. Therefore, laying aside falsehood, speak truth, each one of you with his neighbor, for we are members of one another, for his name's sake. Prescribe truth, we giving you what the doctor ordered. Jamal, Bandy, apologist, the Lord's servant. We undeserving, but Christ changed our mind frame. In a world full of errors, the only thing the doctor prescribes is truth. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 25. Therefore, laying aside falsehood, speak truth, each one of you with his neighbor, for we are members of one another, for his name's sake. Prescribe truth, we giving you what the doctor ordered. Jamal, Bandy, apologist, the Lord's servant. We undeserving, but Christ changed our mind frame. In a world full of errors, the only thing the doctor prescribes is truth.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Prescribing Truth. I'm Jamal Bandy. If this is your first time watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell to the side so you can be notified when I have new content. If you listen to this on your podcast apps, please remember to leave a rating and review. This really helps out the show a lot. If you'd like to contact me, you can do so by emailing me at prescribe.truth@gmail.com or calling in at 801-980-6333. And this announcement, eventually, I'll be able to take calls on the air. I mean, I think I could do it now, but I'm not quite ready to go there yet. I'll probably wait till the channel grows a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe you guys let me know if you're interested and want to call in live while I'm having a discussion to give you feedback or whatnot. Please do let me know, and we can start that up. I got the setup ready, just not ready to go for you yet. So hey, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can do so partner me on Patreon. And I want to give a shout out to Cornell Rigby. Cornell Rigby just became a patron. I want to say he already been a patron like 20 days. But, we was out. Holidays had, I wasn't on last week. My son's birthday and everything else. I didn't get a chance to announce him. But want to give him a shout out. So thank you so much for giving. You too can partner with us as well for just $1. And with $1, you get a few things. You can take part in the pre-show and the post-show. Access to bonus content that I may put up on Patreon. I got some stuff that's already on Patreon that I will never put on YouTube. Not because it's bad or anything like that. But, I'm talking about some personal stuff. And so, hey, it's on there. Also, what else I want to say? Oh, yeah. I say if you want to contact me, you got my email address. You got the number you can call in. You want to support financially, you can do some Patreon. Also, if you want to give a one-time donation, you can do so at the link below, the PayPal. So do that. I would greatly appreciate it. If not, I appreciate your prayers. Please continue to pray for this ministry. Today, I had planned on doing this episode talking about Lady Gaga and her comments against the vice president. But, man, I said that when I do this next show, it was going to be dealing with something dealing with abortion. And so I was looking on this website. I was looking up 8 questions to show that abortion goes against reason, or Roe versus Wade goes against reason, which I'll probably still read a couple questions off of there. But it's interesting enough to find out that yesterday there was a bill that was passed in New York. It said basically making murder okay for babies. I mean, for babies to be murdered, then it's okay. I hear some people saying that they're saying it's okay to murder a child even after 24 weeks. I'm still reading it in the article. Not the article, but the actual bill itself that was passed, or the act that was passed. I'm seeing on here where it's saying that, hey, within 24 weeks, a woman can have abortion, can get an abortion, and it won't be considered murder, or considered homicide. But then they consider a person to be someone who's born and alive. So you're not even so they don't believe an infant in the womb is a person. So I find there's some contradictions there already within the act itself, and we're going to look at that. We're going to read off some of that stuff from the act itself, give a look at it. Where we going to go at first? I want to real quick look at an article that this was on CBN News. There's a few articles that are covering this story, but I want to read off what I see on CBN News, and this is the Christian CBN News, a Christian's perspective, and so it's a Christian news site. And the title of their website is "A Sad and Evil Day: New York Legalizes Abortion Up to Baby's Birthday on Anniversary of Roe v. Wade." And so, like I said, I'm still looking at it where I'm still looking forward to say that up until the baby's born, they can abort the child. I still haven't seen that yet in the act, but we're gonna look at it. So we're gonna look at it together. I've read a little bit into this act and haven't read it all, so we're gonna look at that today and together. And so, comment your thoughts. Call me. What the case may be. Really agree or disagree. Let's discuss it. Man, it's sad, and it is an evil day. Even at 24 weeks, even within 24 weeks, consider that a baby in the womb is not a person. I mean, that's still crazy, and it amazes me. And I feel like any woman who's had a child, period, should not even be on the ballpark of this, or any man who's had a child, should not even be on the ballpark of this. And any person who's been born should not be on the ballpark of this, should not be finding this okay, period. There was a time in my life when I was younger, and I was young and dumb and didn't want to have responsibilities and everything else. I'd have been cool with abortion because I don't want to raise no kids. I was lazy, and I wasn't a man then. I was a child. I thought childishly. I thought selfishly. But man, I'm like, I just can't see how, even my little man, Josiah, I can't see how when I saw his ultrasound and at even 6 weeks, when I saw heard the heartbeat at, I can't remember how many weeks it was I heard that heartbeat. I want to say it was at 6 weeks. I probably asked my wife. But anyway, when I first heard his heartbeat, he was nowhere near 24 weeks. And he was like, it was amazing. Like, his heart was beating. He was alive. He was a person. Then when I started seeing him move and everything else, his little fingers starting to poke out and everything. You start seeing his little hands start to form and his feet and all that stuff. Is just like, how you not consider that a human being, a person, life? You know, it amazes me, and I'm always gonna be just dumbfounded at the way this world thinks, the way our culture sees life. But I can't be surprised because this is what the word says. You know, like this is like the people who sacrifice their children to Molech. You know, like in the Old Testament, it's the same thing. They killed these children because they serving their God. And in this case, instead of people serving Molech, they're serving themselves. They idolize themselves. You know, they're what's most important in life. And so yeah, that's my rant on that. So let's read off a little bit of this article from the CBN, and I have an article put up on my phone from Life News. So here it says New York legislators cheered and applauded Tuesday night after the state Senate removed restrictions on late-term abortions, allowing unborn babies to be aborted on the day of birth. You know, like I said, I need to see that in the act. Like, I'm not saying it's not true. I need to see that in the act, man. Now, that's crazy. Like, within 24 weeks is still crazy, but I need to see that. So it's called the Reproductive Health Act. It says passed with a 38-28 vote and was signed into law by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. And I probably butchered his name, but you know, that's how I see Cuomo is Cuomo. It says today we are, and this is a quote from Governor Cuomo. It says today we are taking a giant step forward in the hard-fought battle to ensure a woman's right to make her own decisions about her own personal health, including the ability to access an abortion. What about, and this is a question that most, like all pro-lifers ask, what about the right of the unborn? What about the right of the human? And the only way they can get away from that is to try to deem that unborn child is not a person. That is the only way they can get around that, because if they agree, if they acknowledge that unborn baby in the womb within those 24 weeks, at the moment of conception, at the moment of life, is a person, is a human being, then they can't by no means say that person doesn't have a right. But because they think it's just tissue, because they want to say that they deny the truth, that it's a person, they can get away with saying stuff like this. That it's a woman's right to do what she can do what she needs to do about her own personal health. Yes, but it's not the life that's inside of her is not her own body. That is a separate body, you know, and that's crazy, man. So it said the law erases New York's previous limitations on abortion, which restricted the fatal procedure past 24 weeks. It said a Reproductive Health Act states, and we're going to look at this in the act. I actually seen this quote in there. It says every individual who becomes pregnant has the fundamental right to choose to carry the pregnancy to term, to give birth to a child, or to have an abortion. So, like right there, you say, okay, well, every individual who's pregnant has the fundamental right to choose to carry the pregnancy to term. And it seems like in this line itself, it could be enough to say that this is giving the okay for them to abort the child after 24 weeks or up until the day of birth. But I want to show you something within the act that has me question that that's the case, you know, because to be fair towards the act, this quote is it cuts it off. So it's not a period at the end of having an abortion. There's a comma there, and we're going to look at it, so you'll see it. It said the law also removes abortion from the definition of homicide and New York's criminal code altogether. Which, when I saw the definition of homicide, which is in there as well, I didn't necessarily see them it mentions abortion. But what they're gonna do, what they did in the law was make it where if you try to do it yourself, like they basically call it the killing of an unborn child. Basically, where if it's not done under the authority of a health professional. So basically, if you get it done by a health professional, it's cool. But if you go and try to kill your own baby, then they're gonna consider it murder. That's crazy. But then, like I said, they play on words because they call it a person. Homicide is defined by the murder of a person, which they're going to say a person is somebody who's been born and is alive. So if you ain't been born yet, you're not really considered a person. So therefore, there's really no homicide committed against you. So this is why I can see that it's making it okay to murder children in the womb up to term, up to birth. That's what I'm seeing that's making it okay. Those loopholes within this act is making it okay. If somebody on the other side of this, if you watch this, if you agree with this act and all that kind of good stuff, please respond. Let me know where I'm getting off at before we even get to reading the law. So I know where I'm at, because right now it's already seeming like, man, they took the necessary steps to just make sure there's no way around like going forward with penalty towards people who would murder their children. And so it says the law also removes abortion from the definition of, we already read that. It said the Reproductive Health Act changes that. Instead, abortion will be regulated under public health law, and a variety of medical professionals, not just licensed physicians, will be allowed to perform abortions without penalty. So they go and clarify that. So as long as you get a doctor to do it or a health professional to do it, you're good to go. Let's say. And it says advocates for this new bill or the new law says that it will protect abortion even if the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade. So even if it's overturned, it still go through. And you gotta keep in mind, Roe v. Wade is not a law. It's just it's a court decision. It's a court case that took place. It's interesting. I didn't know. I found out when I looked at some research that actually the woman who was involved in the Roe v. Wade case, she didn't even get an abortion. Like, she didn't get an abortion, and she's actually a pro-lifer. So that's some irony there. Interesting. So they got this on their site. They have where the New York Senate, they was cheering. They got a video of them clapping and cheering. I'm not gonna play that here, but they was clapping and cheering about the passing of the law. It's just sad. People are happy about this. It's crazy, and all in the name of women's rights and right to health care and all that stuff like that. But the right to murder your children, that's basically it. You have the right to murder your baby. The baby did nothing to you. The baby didn't ask to be here. You wouldn't have had unprotected sex, whatever the case may be, wasn't careful. And then you have situations, they always bring up you don't know, somebody may have got raped and everything else. And they always bring up the stuff that's least likely to happen. It does happen, has happened. But it's like, that's not the case with these women who's going to the abortion clinics. These ain't women who's been raped and going there. These are women who got pregnant because they're being promiscuous, or they wasn't expecting to get pregnant, married, didn't want children, or whatever the case may be. They want to kill the baby. That's what we have going on. And so, yeah. Sad. So let's, real quick, let's look at the law. I want to pull that up for you guys. We're going to take a look at it. All right, so we're gonna start from the beginning. This is just the PDF format. This was pre-filed January 9th. All right, let's see here. Okay. Now, on this, where it talks on that line, and it says every individual who becomes pregnant has a fundamental right to choose to carry the pregnancy to term, so on and so forth. It comes from this section right here. I'm gonna highlight that for you guys. All right, so it says every individual has the fundamental right to choose or refuse contraception or sterilization. This line 2. This is where the quote from the article was at. Well, you should be able to see that. It says every individual who becomes pregnant has the fundamental right to choose to carry the pregnancy to term, to give birth to a child, or to have an abortion pursuant to this article. So this is the thing that was missing from that news post, pursuant to this article. That means they can have an abortion as long as it's in agreement with this article. So that's the point there. It has to be an agreement. So they can't just go and have an abortion. They got to make sure that it's in the confines of this. Now, like I said, because of the loopholes they already put in this law, which they did put in here, that it has to be done medical professional by medical professional and all that kind of stuff like that. They're kind of made it okay, So that is in pursuant with the article if they was to get an abortion. So I just want to put that out there. That was what that sentence actually says. Now, somebody text me. Okay. Now it also kills me that it says every individual who becomes pregnant has the fundamental right to choose to have. So like, this is like this is fundamental to your life. This is fundamental to a woman to be able to choose to carry the pregnancy to term. So like, the baby has no right. Baby's not even thought of at this point. It's all about the woman's selfish desires and motives and so on and so forth. Well, that's what it's about here, and it's sad. Anyway, let's continue. So abortion. Here's this part about abortion. All right, first, the line before it, line 3, I'm going to read that real quick. I'm not going to highlight it, but it says, the state shall not discriminate against, deny, or interfere with the exercise of the rights set forth in this section in the regulation or provision of benefits, facilities, services, or information. And then on this section, dealing with abortion, a healthcare practitioner licensed, certified, or authorized under Title 8 of the Education Law, acting within his or her lawful scope of practice, may perform an abortion when, according to the practitioner's reasonable and good faith professional judgment, based on the facts of the patient's case. So these are the reasons. This is when they can do so. The patient is within 24 weeks from the commencement of pregnancy. So up to 24 weeks. So that's what I'm seeing here. You got up to 24 weeks. Now, I'm not saying this is where they're already going to change this. This is part of the part that's being revised. But this was in that same section where it's saying it's okay as long as they in pursuit of the articles. Anyway, so the patient is within 24 weeks from the commencement of pregnancy, or there is an absence of fetal viability, or the abortion is necessary to protect the patient's life or health. Now, viability struck me. Like, what it means to be viable. And what I'm seeing, as I looked up, and you guys can comment your thoughts on this as well. What I'm seeing for being viable is being able to survive, the ability to successfully to live. In this case, outside the womb, or the case may be. But I'm guessing because it say fetal viability, I'm guessing they're saying they see that what I'm hearing from this, or what I read from this, is that if they see that the fetus or the baby can no longer live. So the baby's not able to survive while in the womb, not outside, but while in the womb. Then it's okay to abort the baby. That part is where the baby is probably dead or gonna die. I don't know. So I'm hesitant thinking about, like, okay, is the baby probably gonna die? Hey, just go ahead and kill it, because baby may not live anyway, so just kill it. Or they're saying the baby is dead, and they have to remove it, which makes sense at that point. Which most women, they miscarry at that point if the baby dies in the womb. So y'all get me on that. What's that meaning there? Come on, talk to me. It says, or the abortion is necessary to protect the patient's life or health. Now I find that very, very disturbing. And you say, well, you want the woman to survive, right? And it's like, of course, you want the health of the woman. And some people will even say, well, hey, if it's going to risk the life of the mother, then it's okay, kill the child. The thing is this. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. As you guys may disagree with me, you can comment and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, if I feel like if it's going to be to the point where the mother is going to die from giving birth to the child, then I would probably won't be as harsh about that. I'll be like, okay, I'll be a little more gracious on that end. But to have the idea of a mother who's willing to basically save her own life, and for the sake of the child, it's like, man, like what does the Bible says as far as what's the greatest love? The greatest love is that a man would give his life for his friends. That's the greatest love a person can have. So what is the greatest love you can have for your child? Being willing to sacrifice your own life for the sake of theirs. It's like me going into a situation where it's life and death, and I have my 5 and my 1-year-old, and I'm willing to sacrifice their lives that I may live. That would be not only unloving, but that would be hateful, worthy of having my tail kicked. You see, but then we say, well, that's a 5-year-old, that's a 2-year-old, you know. But what about the child in the womb? Like, they don't have the same value in their eyes, and that's the problem. My 1-year-old, you know, he can't survive without us. He needs help. He needs assistance. He's 1. You know, you leave him on his own without anybody to take care of him, he's gonna die. But we give him a different set of value versus the one in the womb, and we say, well, his life is worth saving, but the one in the womb isn't. And like I said, I have more grace in that area because we're talking about death of the woman, and by God's grace, if that be the case, and maybe the Lord will get her pregnant again, because by God's grace, her heart isn't that she doesn't want the baby that's there, it's that she wants her baby. It's just that it's going to kill her. You know, that's my nuance there. You know, so that's that. Y'all guys let me know your thoughts, man. That's my honest opinion on that. All right. So on the section where it talks about homicide, it says, and I'm gonna highlight this. We're gonna bring this to the top of the screen. Homicide, abortion, and related offenses. Homicide defined. Okay, this is the key. This is how they define homicide. Homicide means conduct which causes the death of a person or an unborn child with which a female has been pregnant for more than 24 weeks under circumstances constituting murder, manslaughter, in the first degree, manslaughter in the second degree, or criminally negligent homicide, abortion in the first degree, or self-abortion in the first degree. So that's that. So they do mention abortion as being laid out in homicide, but the key to this is that they're saying that, and this is what I'm reading here, guys. I saw the article, and like I said, I'm not trying to defend anything. I want to stick with what the truth is. And so what I'm seeing here already is that they're not saying that it's okay to have an abortion after, up until pregnancy, like in the 3rd trimester. They're not saying it's okay to abort then. They consider that to be homicide. This is what they're saying here. Like I said, this is how they're defining homicide. We're going to see how they define person in just a few. You may already see it because it's on the same page. But they say that this is what homicide is. It means the conduct which causes the death of a person. Then they put in parentheses, or an unborn child with which a female has been pregnant for more than 24 weeks. So to them, check this out. To them, it's not an unborn child. It's not considered homicide up until after 24 weeks, which is like 6 months or so. So it's like, whoa. So what about before then? Like, so they don't consider the person. They don't consider it life or any of that kind of stuff, because the death of a person, they don't consider this a person, the baby a person until 24 weeks. That's crazy. Then it says, so let's finish reading it. Death of a person under circumstances constituting murder, manslaughter in the first degree, manslaughter in the second degree, or criminally negligent homicide. And then they put in parentheses again, abortion in the first degree or self-abortion in the first degree. Now, I need to see if what's in parentheses, and this is something that we need to look at here, because these parentheses are getting me, because abortion is in parentheses. When we got homicide, you see this here. You got homicide, abortion in parentheses, and related offenses. Now, to me, when I look at the parentheses, I'm thinking about, okay, is the parentheses meaning they're including it, or they're saying that these are things that are going to be excluded? Yeah, because I'm thinking that, man. I need to go back and look. If I'm correct on that what's in parentheses is what's actually being excluded, like taken out, then that makes sense, because here it says the following, and it got definitions are, and they got it in parentheses, but then they have definition is applicable to the article, and then that's not, and then it gets person. And so like before, it had one because it was multiple definitions, but now there's only one definition, and so this is the definition of a person. Let's look at that. I'm gonna go back to the beginning of the article. This may be a long. Yep, there it is. There it is. Yep. That article did say that. That news article said it, and it was right. So you see right here. Explanation. Matter in italics underscore is new. So if it's in italics and it's underscored, it's new. Matter in brackets is old law to be omitted. Oh man. Now guys, I'm just now seeing that with you guys. Just now seeing this with you. Like oh man. This changes. Oh man. I'm just not seeing this, guys, with you. So wow. It's sick. This is sick. So now I gotta go back and read over this again. So now, oh man. So there's a line we read here that was there. You know, nothing's in brackets here. Wow. So women have a right to abortion, a fundamental right to abortion. Wow, man, it's just sick. Oh man. Oh, this is sick. Let's look at this. Okay, so going back real quick, where it talks about who gets an abortion. So this ain't in brackets. So this is in brackets. Nothing's in italics. It's not new. This is old. It's been there before. It says may perform an abortion when, according to the practitioner's reasonable and good faith professional judgment, based on the facts of the patient's case, the patient is within 24 weeks from the commencement of pregnancy, or there's an absence of fetal viability or abortion necessary to protect the patient's life or health. Okay, so we got within 24 weeks here. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, okay, within 24 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Which is still not okay to me, but it's like, okay, so it's not late term. But this is what they do. It's in what they omit that makes it okay. Wow, man. Okay, so going to homicide. So now, just like the article said, they don't consider abortion a homicide. So where it used to be part of this other offense, abortion, but they got it in brackets, so they're taking it out. This is omitting. So homicide is not even including abortion, period. So now we look back over what homicide is. Homicide means a conduct which causes the death of a person. So it used to say, the law used to say, or an unborn child with which a female has been pregnant for more than 24 weeks. So the old law was still bad, in the fact that the old law that they used to have was still bad because it didn't consider a child to be a child until after 24 weeks. But now they're killing it completely. They're taking it out completely. So it don't even matter if it's after 24 weeks. That gives it okay for late term. They won't consider it a homicide. It's not murdering your child if you have an abortion, period, to them. This is sick, bro. All this is sick. The circumstances constituted manslaughter, blah, 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 blah. Now, it used to say homicide, and they used to include abortion in the first degree or self-abortion in the first degree. So where a woman could kill I said this earlier in the podcast. I said it seems to me that they said that it's okay, that it's not okay to murder a child on your own. But here, they're taking it out. They don't consider this homicide. Even if a woman was basically cause her own miscarriage, kill the baby, her own self, without doing it, they don't consider it a homicide. Wow. Man, that's sick, man. So, okay. And I said I wanted to see that. I said that I wanted to see for myself where this law was gonna make that okay for late term abortion, and I'm seeing it. We're seeing it together. It's there, They have carte blanche. You get pregnant, hey, up until the time you give birth, you're free to have an abortion. That is sick, man. In New York, and you think about it, man. During this time, you see that 6 months. Like, what stage the baby's in, and you don't consider the person. That's the thing, because see, they say a cause death of a person. So let's look at how they define person. So they took out definitions and made it one definition. So this is how they define person, period. No other definition for person. When referring to the victim of a homicide, means a human being who has been born or is alive. So you're not considered a person until you've been born. That's sick, man. That's just sad. That's sad. I don't see how anybody with the right frame of mind could be okay with killing children. If you ever seen pictures of an abortion, of children that has been aborted, if you cheer that, I don't see how you will have a heart. Now that to me, that shows how true the Bible talks about the depravity of man. You say, "Oh, that's a Calvinistic thought." Man, forget that. The Bible says that that human beings are evil from the day of our youth. The Bible says that our hearts are wicked, desperately wicked, and we can't trust it. We can't trust our hearts because our hearts are sick. That's why we must be born again. God gives us a new heart. Man, I remember, man, back when I didn't even think too much about this stuff. Like, hey, you do what you want to do. It's your life. And I just feel bad that I even used to think that way. Man, this is crazy. Let me see where else they got sectioned off. I know they're taking off stuff to do with abortion. All right. Okay. Let's see. All right, so they took this out, and this is what the laws of amended read as follows. It says a coroner. This is what it's under this section. A coroner or medical examiner has jurisdiction and authority to investigate the death of every person dying within his county or whose body is found within the county which is or appears to be, and through each of these numbers, a violent death, whether by criminal violence, suicide, or casualty, so forth. But we come to line F, and this is what's taken out. So F is being omitted. A death of a person confined in a public institution other than a hospital, infirmary, or nursing home. So that's being omitted. I wonder what that's getting at. Honestly, when I look at it, guys, let me know. It's a death of a person confined in a public institution other than a hospital, infirmary, or nursing home. So, where before it was like, okay, it was okay other than the hospital, A, B, and C. So a person confined in a public institution. I wonder if they're taking this out because this protected children who were like born and they're confined in the public institution, being the hospital. But they're taking it out. So I don't know. You guys, let me know. Cause I seen on an article where it talks about that they even saying like even on their birthday, like even the day they're born, they can be killed. I don't know. But that may be one of the things that protect them there. I'm not sure. I'm just being honest, guys. I'm not sure. But you guys let me know. What else has been admitted here? And that's it. And it said this act shall take effect immediately. So it was passed yesterday, and it's in effect. So that's it. Now, what I will do is I'm gonna do that now. Is I'm gonna take this link and I'm going to post it in the description of this podcast. So I'm gonna do that now, so you guys can be able to see it. card here. And therefore, like, after this live stream and you watching this on a replay, you can be able to follow along and read it yourself. Read ahead of me. Maybe something I missed and you want to catch it. That's cool. But yeah, I'm gonna share that for you guys. It's sad, man. It's real sad, and the people are applauding that. Excuse me. People are applauding that and cheering for the murder of children, man. This is what our world is coming to. We shouldn't be surprised. This is what the Word of God tells us, and this is why more than ever, as always, we need to be proclaiming the gospel, continuing to share the gospel, because it's through the gospel and the power of the Holy Spirit that hearts are changed. You want somebody's mind to be changed from thinking that it's okay to murder a child. New laws is not going to change that. Threatening them ain't going to change that. Moping around is not going to change that. What will change that is God himself. And according to his own will, he will do according to his will. And so, man, that's what we pray. We pray the Lord will save these people, that the Lord will continue to send more people out to try to reason with mothers who decide that they want to kill their babies. Let them know there are other options. If you don't want to have a child, if you don't want to keep a child or raise a child, people will adopt. There are options. And there are people who are willing to pay for those options. But they're out there. So that's that. Now I want to real quick close. Now I've been long enough, but real quick, this is off of Live Action. They are a strong pro-life ministry. They have news articles and stuff like that, stories dealing with abortion and whatnot. And this is from an article that was published on the 22nd, and they got it from another article called "Love Unleashes Life." And they asked some questions. It said 8 questions that reveal why Roe v. Wade goes against reason. Now I'm gonna read out these questions. You guys think about it. You can comment your answers with your thoughts, and I may give some of my thoughts as we read through the questions, and then we'll go from there. We'll close out. So the first question is, from what point are we measuring viability? Now, in this part, I do want to spend a little bit of time on, because they has a good question here, and it's for those who, especially, you remember the old law said that up until 24 weeks. So after 24 weeks, they considered it murder. So, but even then, it's like goes against reason, and so this is what they say. When discussing Roe v. Wade, people often talk about viability, some arguing that abortion is acceptable if the child cannot survive outside the womb. It is generally considered that a preborn child is viable around 24 weeks. But consider the label 24 weeks and what that implies. To get to 24 weeks implies that we started counting the passage of time 24 weeks prior. So what happens then? Sperm-egg fusion, otherwise known as fertilization. Since we are counting time from there, that is actually a concession that life does not begin at 24 weeks, but rather 24 weeks prior. That is logical. That's appealing to logic. So that's interesting. Let me get off this page here. All right. There we go. The next one. If abortion is allowed for a woman's life after viability, why not bring the child out alive rather than dead? Good question. So instead of saying it's okay to murder a child after 24 weeks, if you consider the life to be viable, because the old law considered it to be a life, then why not just bring the child alive? Have a C-section, whatever. Remove the child, put it in the incubator, keep it alive. Find it a home. Find him or her a home. Number 3, does a negative pregnancy test result ever lead to an abortion? That's like an obvious question, right? Like, we know they say we know the answer is obviously not. So what is it that that a positive test is telling a woman? It is indicating that the pregnant woman's body is not the only body present, rather that there is another individual present. And just who is that individual? A child. and not just any child, her child. So a related question we must ask is this: what do civil societies expect of parents? Don't we expect parents to care for their offspring, not kill their offspring? Hey, question. I got a 5 and a 1-year-old. Is it okay to kill them? You say no. Why? What's the reason? Verse number 4. I say verse. Number 4. If abortion is about a woman's right to her own body, when does the right begin? Now, this was a good one. It says several years ago, The Economist magazine had a cover story about 100 million women missing from the world as a result of sex-selective abortion and infanticide. I'll probably butcher that. Isn't it interesting that abortion is often touted as being pro-female, and yet so many females are being destroyed in the womb precisely because their sex chromosomes are XX? Don't preborn females have a right to their bodies? That's like logical, people. Woman's right to their. Did you read that? Remember we read that law? How is like talking about a woman's right? She has a right. You know, it's all about women's rights. Even when government talks about, hey, women have a right to her own body and doing these things. Well, what about the female in the womb? Because truly, you find out the sex. You can find out the sex before 24 weeks. And even then, oh, that's crazy. Oh man, what up, Edwin, bro? What's good? This is crazy, man. I'm coming off the end of reading off this this act that was passed in New York. Man, it is crazy, man. I read off the act, bro, and I saw what they omitted off of there, bro. Man, you gotta check it out, man. It was crazy. Yeah, man. I was gonna touch on another topic. I was going to touch on something that happened with Lady Gaga and her foolishness with the vice president, but you know, I was like, man, this is more pressing. This is more important. So I'm dealing with it. I'm about closing up. I'm almost finished. And it says, so what is number 5? There's another question. What is the legal standard when a woman sentenced to death is pregnant? What is the legal standard when a woman sentenced to death is pregnant? So, remember, a woman in jail, sentenced to death, and she's pregnant. What's the legal standard? Now, what they say under here is every American state in which the death penalty is illegal prohibits the execution of pregnant women. Interesting. Every American state in which the death penalty is legal prohibits the execution of pregnant women. Moreover, the United Nations International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights states sentence of death shall not be carried out on pregnant women. So now, what's to say about that? Because you don't consider it life. You don't consider the baby to be life, to be a person. So now, what happened in New York now? What can happen towards those women? Those who are pregnant, they're gonna be sentenced to death. So people sometimes debate. They continue to say people sometimes debate whether guilty individuals should get the death penalty. But people always agree that innocent individuals should not get the death penalty. Oh, man. To withhold capital punishment from a guilty woman for the sole reason that she is pregnant is to make a concession that within her body is an innocent child. Wow. Wow. Wow, man. Yeah, that's right, bro. You in New York, man. Like, you're right there in that state. That's crazy, man. It's like people know the truth. People know the truth. That's why, man, like, laws will not change the heart of men. It won't, because people know the truth. But it's like the Bible says in Romans, we suppress the truth in unrighteousness. And we talking about the unborn children, we talking about life, all this stuff is centered around theology. You say, well, Jamal, this ain't dealing with theology. Yes, it is. Because your idea of who a person is says what you think about God. You say you're a Christian and you say that child is that baby in the womb is not a person. That says a lot about your idea of who God is. Like you must be worshiping an idol. That's not the God of the Bible. Like, this is crazy. All right, three more questions. Three more questions. What do abortion procedures and promoters tell us about abortion? Now this is good too. This question, just think about that. It says that I'm gonna read this in the National Abortion Federation's textbook on abortion. It says it refers to feticidal techniques. What is the meaning? What is the meaning of the root word "side"? It means to kill. We do not kill that which is not living. Woo, woo. We do not kill that which is not living. So to speak of killing the fetus is yet another admission about the preborn child, namely that he or she is living. That's good. All right, so what 7. What became of Roe v. Wade? Oh, it said what became of Roe in Roe v. Wade. Most people are unaware that the very woman, Norma McCorvey, who is represented as the Roe in Roe v. Wade, never had the abortion that brought her case to the Supreme Court to begin with. Now, that's something I didn't know. This says, moreover, she later became pro-life and wanted the decision reversed. Now, that's some irony for you. The last question. What is the greatest love? And its opposite. So we just talked about that earlier. How the Bible talks about the greatest love. When a man will give his life for his friends, that's the greatest love. So, now what's the opposite of that? Hate. Selfish hate. Man. All right. That's all I got, people. It's a sad day from New York. I'm praying for my brother, the proverbial life, praying for him out there in New York and other Christians out there who are dealing with this in New York. But know that this is a start, that this is a pebble. Like, it happened in New York, it's going to happen elsewhere. It's going to continue. As long as the world continues where it's going, that's where it's going to go. You know, we as Christians need to know, like, we need to stand on truth. We need to stand on the truth and proclaim and plead with people, you know, to repent of their idolatry, repent of their murderous intentions, repent and to look to Jesus and to trust Jesus. I'm thankful my mother didn't get an abortion. I'm thankful she had me. She wanted me. I'm thankful she wanted me. She kept me. Her and my dad wanted me. I'm pretty sure any human being that's living, alive right now is thankful that their parents loved them enough to not kill them in the womb. What about the child that's in the womb now? Or the millions of children that's been aborted? And this is why I found a problem with Eric Mason and his issue and his mess, talking about that basically his stuff on social justice should be put in the same arena as what we're dealing with abortion. Get out of here, man. I'm not finna go down that tangent tonight, but get out of here with that. That's crazy. Anyway, that's all I got. Leave your comments below, any of your thoughts, any kind of stuff like that. Even if you disagree, call me, send me a voicemail, whatever the case may be. Do that. If you want to, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. To check me out on Patreon. If you want to support this ministry financially, please do so. I greatly appreciate it. Remember, this world, I hit my mic. This world is full of errors. But the only thing that the doctor prescribes is truth. It's truth, man. Blessings. Talk to you guys next time.